Lesbian, gay, bi and transgender figures are both the subjects and the architects of some of the most exciting, intriguing and thought-provoking works of art in the capital. In celebration of Pride Month, take a look at the LGBT stories behind artworks at some of London's most famous galleries. All Too Human gives Freud and Bacon a modern makeover at Tate Britain. Lee Bowery, a flamboyant performance artist and fixture of the LGBT club scene, was used to being looked at, largely thanks to his extraordinary outfits and outlandish shows. Here Lucian Freud captures him quite differently, without costume, apparently asleep and seemingly unaware of Freud watching him. This painting is currently on display as part of All Too Human, Bacon, Freud and a Century of Painting Life at Tate Britain. Tate, estate of Francis Bacon. All rights reserved. Dax, London. British painter Francis Bacon lost his long-term lover George Dyer to suicide in 1971. In this claustrophobic, chaotic scene, at least one of the figures can be identified as Dyer, who Bacon painted regularly before and after his death. This painting is also currently on display as part of All Too Human, Bacon, Freud and a Century of Painting Life at Tate Britain. Gilbert George, Red Morning Trouble, 1977, Tate Britain. Tate George Passmore and Gilbert Prausch have described their first meeting as love at first sight. Since meeting at St. Martin's School of Art, the couple have lived and worked together as an artistic duo. Their works often challenge social, UAL and religious conventions, with work that is often shockingly antithetical to their well-mannered appearance. Vanessa Bell, Virginia Woolf, 1912, National Portrait Gallery. National Portrait Gallery, London. Guide to Pride, How to Celebrate Pride Festival in London. A pioneer of feminist literature, Virginia Woolf is widely considered one of the great modernist writers of the last century. Her and her sister Vanessa Bell, the painter of this portrait of her, were part of the Bloomsbury Group, a collective of writers and artists living in the centre of London. The group largely championed a forward-thinking approach to uality, and Woolf herself had emotional and UAL relationships with women. Tate South African photographer Muhani focuses her lens on questions of identity associated with race, gender and uality. She photographs ambiguous gender identities, often cropping her shots to isolated areas of the body to challenge how society has traditionally defined gender. Thomas Phillips, Lord Byron, 1835, National Portrait Gallery. National Portrait Gallery, London. Poet and politician Lord Byron spent much of his adult life travelling the world, travels on which he is thought to have pursued UAL relationships. Byron is said to have written coded letters to friends back home detailing his homoerotic experiences in Greece. Take the 11 best LGBT films of all time made for the dining room at Borough Polytechnic. This painting could either be perceived as one swimming figure or 7 male nudes. Grant took inspiration from sculptures by Michelangelo, who is thought to have been attracted to men and scenes from around the Serpentine in Hyde Park, a site popular with London's gay community. Sunil Gupta, Ian and Julian, from the series 10 Years On, 1986, printed 2010. Tate Modern. Tate. After his 10-year relationship ended, Sunil Gupta took to photographing gay couples in long-term relationships. The 30 photographs in the project shows couples in their homes, posed to resemble traditional family portraits. Made during the 1980s, the photographs contrasted wider public perception of gay relationships which had been stereotyped in the shadow of the AIDS crisis. Dora Carrington, M. Forster, 1920, National Portrait Gallery. The best LGBT bars, clubs, and nightlife in the capital. In 1920, Carrington painted this portrait of gay writer M. Forster. Carrington dressed in an androgynous fashion and had relationships with both men and women in her life, and had an affair with openly homoerotic writer Lytton Strachey. After Strachey, Carrington was so distraught she by suicide 2 months later. Mary McCartney, National Portrait Gallery, London. An openly gay actor who has long been a fervent activist for LGBT rights, Ian McKellen, is captured here by photographer Mary McCartney wearing a shirt bearing the slogan "Some people are gay. Get over it." The phrase is part of a campaign by Stonewall UK, a activism group promoting equality for the LGBT community.